What's up, everybody? You've reached Sam with Sam Shady Sports once again. I'm bringing you another head coaching update. The New York Giants have officially hired Brian Daboll, the former offensive coordinator from the Buffalo Bills. Let's take a look at his resume and see what he's all about, um, and determine whether or not he was the right decision. Start this off. Brian Daboll is only 46 years old. He actually got a start in the NFL at only 24 years old as a defensive assistant with New England, a position he held for a short while before he moved into coaching wide receivers. He actually coached very closely to Josh McDaniels at the beginning of his career when he was a defensive assistant as well. He worked under Bill Belichick, Josh McDaniels, Eric Mangini, Romeo Crennel, Nick Saban, Tony Sparano, and Sean McDermott. Quite the collection of coaches, especially when it comes to the offensive side of the ball. He helped Tua Tagovailoa become a first-round pick as his offensive coordinator and quarterback coach at Alabama prior to joining Buffalo. He has 9 seasons of offensive coordinator experience and 3 seasons as a quarterback coach, including the season out at Alabama where he served as both. Um, the one season at Alabama is the year that they transitioned from Jalen Hurts, who was a second round pick, to Tua, who ended up being a first round pick. Which, if you ask me, that is a perfect indication of the kind of quarterback developer that Brian Daboll is. He likes mobile quarterbacks, um, hence his career in Buffalo, where he made the most out of Josh Allen, who's a very mobile, big quarterback who has all the arm talent in the world as well. Granted, Daniel Jones is not the athlete uh, Josh Allen is as a passer, but make no mistake, Daniel Jones can run. He's a very mobile quarterback, and he's got adequate arm strength in the NFL. The problem here is his overwhelming lack of proper decision making at the NFL level. Um, Brian Daboll is the man that they decided was their best chance to cure that. And I honestly think that with his background coaching with Brett Favre, Chad Pennington, Jalen Hurts, Tua, Matt Castle, and now Josh Allen, he might actually be the perfect person. This is another guy he witnessed day in and day out was not Josh McDaniels, Tom Brady, when he worked with the Patriots in several stints. He helped guys like Calvin Ridley, Bradley Bozeman, and Bo Scarborough become NFL level talent in that one season he was with Alabama. He has developed guys like Isaiah McKenzie and others into offensive stalwarts in Buffalo, and he has also developed coaching around him in the name of Ken Dorsey as the offensive or the passing game coordinator and quarterback coach, who he might try to tab as his offensive coordinator with the Giants. There's also been rumors that he's interested in keeping Patrick Graham as the defensive coordinator, who is still under contract with the Giants. And if that fails, because Graham has interviews with other teams currently, then he will turn his sights to Wink Martindale, who was just fired from Baltimore. Um, on top of that, he should look to target a few more coaches from Buffalo on the defensive side of the ball. There are several very, very experienced defensive coaches in their specific position groups that they coach, and they've been around the NFL for many years, and they're all very good at what they do. And one of the big things Dable has said is that his biggest challenge will be to create the right staff to to build a successful roster in New York. Um, I fully expect him to target many free agents that have come from Buffalo as well, including guys like Mitch Trubisky, Emmanuel Sanders, Isaiah McKenzie, Taiwan Jones, or Matt Breida. The reason I think this is because, first of all, is the transition. It's a large transition going from the offense that they ran in 2021 to Brian Daboll's scheme in 2022. If you bring in guys at every position group that know your offense and can help teach it, as well as fill a role within that team, why wouldn't you? Specifically with Mitch Trubisky and Emmanuel Sanders. Mitch Trubisky can come in and be the type of guy that can push Daniel Jones to be a quality starter or replace him if he chooses not to be. Emmanuel Sanders is a veteran receiver that is lacking on this roster. The only veteran receiver they have as of right now that they can count on is Kenny Golladay. And Kenny Golladay did not perform in 2021 with Daniel Jones as quarterback. Whether that was scheme, coaching, or Jones's play, I'm not sure, but we will find out with Brian Daboll there. He will definitely figure out what the issue is and fix it right away. We saw him perform well in Buffalo with Stephon Diggs the minute he got there. Kenny Golladay is the same type of talent at wide receiver that can take over a game if he is schemed into the offense properly. And Dable is the guy that can make this happen. On top of his list of things to do will also be to determine whether or not Saquon Barkley can return to an NFL level of play, or if he is no longer a viable starter at this level. Big reason why I think he'll bring in Matt Breida is because he's going to need depth behind Barkley, whether or not Barkley comes back healthy or not. Um, Breida is quality depth, and as I mentioned before, he knows the offense. He can also somewhat contribute in the kick return game at times. That's the exact reason why I think he will bring in Isaiah McKenzie. McKenzie is one of those do it all players. He will catch passes up to 30 passes a season, maybe even more, depending on the offensive uh, scheme and play calling in certain games. He's had games of over 10 receptions at times. He will run the ball, he'll pass the ball, he'll return the ball on kicks and punts, and he'll play coverage teams and special teams. He is literally the type of player that you want to take everywhere you go when you're a coach. And I believe that that is going to be one of the guys that Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll targets right away when free agency starts. He's not going to command a whole lot of money, but his versatility provides so many roles for a team that it just makes too much sense. And that's the same exact reason why I see Taiwan Jones being signed as well. Taiwan Jones is one of those guys who has played running back, he's played defensive back in the NFL. He has flip flopped between both positions more often than not, contributing on special teams no matter where he plays. He has contributed in the return game, on defense, on offense. No matter where you ask him to play, he goes and plays it. And those are the type of guys, once again, that you want on your team when you move forward with a new team. You want players that are going to do whatever you ask and play whatever role you need them to play. Because at the end of the day, they are the people who are bringing your culture from a winning team in Buffalo to New York that has not had a winning season in years. They need a culture change there. And more importantly than anything, they need players that can show them how to win once again. Kenny Golladay can't do that. He came from Detroit. More often than not, the players they have on the roster are either back into their career guys like Nate Solder or draft picks that have been highly selected due to losing seasons. Um, there's a lot of talent for Dable to work for or work with on this team. It's just a matter of him figuring out where they fit the best and how to use them correctly. Uh, I fully expect that he will attack the draft looking for more playmakers for Daniel Jones on offense, but at the same time, with Evan Ingram, Saquon Barkley, Sterling Shepard, Darius Slayton, and Kenny Golladay on the roster, he has plenty to work with as it stands. Whether or not some of those guys are retained, I'm not sure. I don't know how Joe Schoen or Brian Dable view the players on the roster, but I know there are building blocks there to work with, um, including a very strong offensive line group that they've spent numerous draft picks on. Um, Honestly, I think Dable is going to be a successful head coach. I I'm not sure if the Giants are going to put him in the best position to succeed, but I believe in his connection with Joe Schoen, and I believe that that is the most important thing that a head coach can have on his side is a good working relationship with your GM. And they've worked together for years with Daboll serving as the offensive coordinator and Joe Schoen serving as the assistant GM in Buffalo. This is the perfect way for their careers to start at the level that they are now at. And if they can work together in the draft to fill out this roster with the positions of need that they have, I think that they could succeed in 2022 right away. Um, this roster was not that far out of the mix when it came to the NFC East because the NFC East was quite honestly not very good in 2021. Um, give Daboll time, and I think we'll see him lead the Giants back to the playoffs. Whether or not it is with Daniel Jones at the helm, I do not know. That will be his biggest job to figure out in 2022. Well, that's everything I've got for you guys today on Brian Daboll. Um, this was a fairly short one compared to some of the coaching breakdowns, but Daboll is a fairly new coach in the league. Granted, like I said, he's got 9 seasons of offensive coordinator experience, but he's really only been around for about 20 years. And a lot of his experience came in the same few stops. Um, he coached for New England for many years, and that's where the vast majority of his influence comes from. And then he's spent quite a few years in Buffalo at this point as well. He is a great coach and a great quarterback developer that I think will actually, believe it or not, make Jones a quality NFL starter. And somebody will benefit from it, whether it's Daboll in New York or it's another team that signs Jones down the line. Let me know what you think in the in the comments below. Like, comment, subscribe, and as always, check out my many supporters, including Gate City Sports, Philly Insider Podcast, and a few others that I'll be posting up here soon. Thank you for all your support, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a good one.